Welcome to Bedtime Wisdom Stories.
Story time. The Lantern on Lily Lane. On quiet Lily Lane, Nora carried a glowing paper lantern to Grandpa's cottage. Warm windows shone on the path, while the night breeze made the lantern sway. Nora noticed old Mrs. Wren sitting on a dark porch, with her hands folded in her lap. She almost hurried past because Grandpa's cocoa would be waiting for her. But the dark porch looked lonely, and Nora remembered how cold darkness can feel. She stepped through the gate and lifted her lantern so the porch steps could be seen. Mrs. Wren explained that her porch lamp had gone out just before supper. Together they searched the shelf for a fresh candle and a box of matches. Nora held the lantern high while Mrs. Wren fixed the little glass lamp. Golden light returned to the porch, touching the flower pots and the rocking chair. Mrs. Wren smiled and tucked 2 cinnamon cookies into Nora's mitten. Nora continued down the lane with the lantern and the smell of cinnamon around her. Grandpa opened his door and asked why her lantern seemed brighter than before. Nora told him about the dark porch and the smile waiting there now. That night she fell asleep knowing one small light had warmed 2 homes. Moral of the story: a small kindness can light more than one home. Story time. Mina and the Missing Moon Pillow. Mina arranged her moon-shaped pillow carefully beside her bedtime storybook. Pretending it was a boat, she carried it downstairs through the quiet hall. The pillow slipped behind the rocking chair while Mina skipped away without noticing. When bedtime came, she searched the bed, the blanket chest, and the toy basket. Mina almost blamed her little brother, who liked to borrow anything soft. Then she remembered carrying the pillow downstairs all by herself. She went to Mama and admitted that she had played with the pillow after supper. Together they followed a trail of silver stars from the pillowcase ribbon. The missing moon pillow was tucked behind the rocking chair exactly where it had fallen. Her little brother was only hugging a square cushion with stripes. Mina apologized for thinking the wrong thing so quickly. She helped her brother find a spare pillow for his own bed. The room felt calm again once the truth had been said out loud. Mama read the moon story while Mina hugged her pillow close. Mina drifted to sleep glad that honesty had solved the worry gently. Moral of the story: telling the truth lets others help before worry grows too big. Story time. Theo's quiet teacup. Theo polished a tiny teacup set for bedtime tea with his cousins. Rain tapped the roof while the little table glowed in lamplight. His cousin Bee held her teacup, but stayed very quiet beside the sugar bowl. Theo almost filled the silence with one more silly story of his own. Then he noticed Bee's spoon trembling softly against the saucer. He lowered his voice and asked whether tomorrow felt a little too big. Bee whispered that she was scared about her first music class in the morning. Theo slid his warm cup closer and listened without interrupting her. He told her that first days often sound louder at night than they do in daylight. Together they practiced saying hello, using sugar cubes as pretend students. Bee laughed for the first time that evening and set her spoon down. Auntie wrapped the tea tin and Bee's music book into the same satchel. Bee thanked Theo for making room for her worry at the table. The rain softened on the roof, as the whole little house grew sleepier. Theo slept proud that listening had helped more than talking. Moral of the story: listening gently helps timid feelings find their voice. Story time. Safi and the Sleepy Star Map. Safi made a star map on her attic ceiling before bed. She opened a small tin of glowing stickers and sorted them by size. The tiniest silver star slipped under the dresser and vanished. Safi wanted the ceiling to look perfect right away. She shook the dresser in a hurry and made more stars scatter on the floor. Grandpa asked her to stop, breathe, and let the moonlight help. Together they knelt quietly until their eyes adjusted to the dark corners. A little glint appeared near one of Safi's slippers. She used a ruler to slide the hidden silver star gently into her paw. Then she finished the last corner of the ceiling map without rushing. The star pattern looked brighter, because each point sat in the right place. Grandpa told her that some things only appear when we slow down enough to see them. Safi lay back on the pillow and traced the constellations she had made. The whole attic felt peaceful and complete under the soft glow. She fell asleep beneath a sky she had patiently finished. Moral of the story: patience helps lost things return to their place. Story time. The Blanket Bridge. Hugo built a blanket tent for himself beside the crackling fireplace. Rain tapped the windows while he arranged pillows inside the warm little fort. His younger sister Lulu shivered nearby because her quilt was still damp from drying. Hugo almost kept the thick red blanket all to himself. Another thunder roll made Lulu clutch her toy lamb and curl up smaller. Hugo lifted one corner of the tent and invited her into the warm space. The blanket stretched between two chairs like a soft bridge joining them. He tucked in Lulu's toy lamb and his own storybook beside them. Mama brought warm milk and smiled at the two pairs of sleepy eyes. Hugo scooted closer so Lulu's cold feet could stay covered. Inside the shared tent, the storm sounded smaller and farther away. Lulu whispered that the fort felt braver with two inside it. Hugo realized the blanket had not become smaller at all. The fire glowed low while both cubs listened to the last raindrops. He slept warmly, knowing comfort grows when it is shared. Moral of the story: sharing comfort makes a cold night warmer for everyone. Story time. Poppy's humming window. Poppy arranged little seashells on her windowsill before bed. In the nursery next door, her baby brother began fussing in his crib. A loose window latch hummed and rattled with every gust of wind. Poppy almost shut her door to protect her own quiet room. Then she heard the baby cry harder at the sound. She opened the nursery door and matched the hum with a soft, sleepy tune. While she sang, she steadied the latch so it stopped buzzing against the frame. The baby watched the curtain move and slowly stopped kicking. Poppy tied the curtain neatly so it would not flap again. Moonlight settled calmly across the crib blanket and the floorboards. Mama thanked Poppy for using a gentle voice instead of a sharp shush. The baby reached for Poppy's finger and let out a long yawn. Poppy noticed how calm can travel from one heart to another. Her own room felt even quieter when she returned to it. She fell asleep to the softest, steady hum of the night. Moral of the story: a calm voice can settle a busy heart. Story time. The boat in the bathtub moon. Sammy floated a paper boat in the bath beneath a round moon night light. He imagined himself sailing alone toward a harbor on the moon. His cousin Hannah watched shyly from the doorway with a silver spoon in her paw. Sammy almost said the captain's boat had room for only one sailor. Then he noticed the silver spoon looked just like a tiny oar. He made space by the tub and welcomed Hannah as his first mate. Together they folded a second paper boat from a wrapper beside the sink. The two boats sailed through bubble islands and around the Fawcett waterfall. Hannah spotted a leak and patched Sammy's boat with a shining star sticker. Sammy let her steer past the foam cliffs and the soap island. Their laughter became softer splashes and sleepy smiles. Auntie wrapped them in warm towels, like blankets in a moon harbor. Sammy realized the voyage had felt bigger with another sailor aboard. Both paper boats dried together on the windowsill under the little moon light. He slept dreaming of a moon harbor wide enough for two. Moral of the story: imagination becomes sweeter when it is shared. Story time. Nico and the noisy crickets. Nico fluffed his pillow and began counting moonbeams across the wall. Outside the window, the crickets chirped so loudly that sleep felt very far away. He stuffed his ears with blanket corners and frowned into the pillow. Nico almost banged on the window to scare the crickets quiet. Then he noticed spilled birdseed shining on the sill under the lamp. Many of the crickets had gathered there for the easy snack. He quietly swept the birdseed into a glass jar without making a fuss. Then he carried the jar to the garden patch away from the window. The crickets followed the little trail of seed into the tall grass. Their song softened as it moved farther from his bed. Nico opened the window just enough for cool air and the scent of mint. Granddad smiled from the doorway, glad no creature had been frightened. Nico learned that calm hands can make a noisy problem smaller. He listened to the gentler chirps mixing with the breeze outside. Sleep came like a blanket settling softly over the garden. Moral of the story: quiet problems often need quiet solutions.